Hello all, my name is Erta the Wanderer, and I've come out of the jungle today to talk about the newest big things on the horizon with our best general, the Great Lizard Wizard. How are we doing, Wizard?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How have you been?
Things are looking up. Problems are disappearing as time goes on.
Nice.
Yep.
Been
Well,
doing anything fun for your hobby lately?
no, actually, my hobby's been taking a very long waiting on the back burner. Mostly because I'm really, really tired of painting jewelry, and and my Saurus warriors have all that jewelry. Uh,
Yeah, that's fair.
so much
Man, I haven't-
gold.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so much gold.
Yeah, I haven't painted any Seraphon because I'm bad since like May, but I finally got around to building more models that have just been sitting in a box. Uh, but yeah, my hobby's also been on the back burner.
Yeah, I just have had no motivation as of late. I haven't played a game in like 3 months.
I've been managing to get in about 2 games a month because I go out to our clubhouse about once a month, and I get in anywhere from 2 to 4 games on the days that I show up. But yeah, I've been feeling deprived of Sigmar.
Mm, yeah, no goal to work towards makes me really slow at hobby because it's not the part of this thing that I enjoy.
I really enjoy hobby, but my problem is that I'm bad at like I'll just get this tabletop ready. Like I never put a model down in a timely manner. I just keep going. Um, so I end up with like 10 really good looking skinks. And then I'm like, ew, I have to do 30 more. Uh, and then not having games to motivate me on top of that. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, if only I could find someone willing to paint me my stuff, because I love building it.
Uh, we should talk afterwards. I know some guys that do commission for pretty cheap. I don't know if it's worth mailing it to them, but it
Yeah,
might be.
not at this point. They're too close to being done.
Gotcha.
Uh, well,
But Sons of Behemoth.
yeah, we've got giants,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yep. We've got four of them.
Man, uh, and people were complaining about elves not getting their full roster.
Yeah, these guys didn't even get battalions.
Right.
I think this is the first Sigmar Battle Tome in the new edition format that didn't have battalions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely are that. I think that this book just feels like it's missing like 3 war scrolls.
Yeah, so I was kind of hoping that the old El Guzzler kit would have like multiple War Scroll loadouts for the
Right.
army.
Like have one that's built entirely for hucking boulders instead of having a bad command trait for that.
Yeah, like maybe have an artillery version of them or like have an armor version
Yeah,
where like
like just give one a big old side of a boat to act as a tower shield and have them be your anvil for the army.
yeah, that would have been fantastic. Like any of that. Although they're the same points, they're 180 points, so same points as the other versions of Gargants were, and they're just straight up averaged out. So like instead of doing D6 damage on an Ed butt, it just does flat 4. Instead of having 3d6 club attacks, it just has 10. Um,
Yeah,
so
man,
that flat average out, I think, helps make the army a lot more consistent.
it's more consistent. For yes. Oh man, these
Which
poor
I would rather
guys.
have because as often as you're going to get lucky, you're going to get unlucky. And now all of a sudden, that like 8 wound ogre tyrant that you should have been able to kill has a wound left or whatever.
Yeah,
I hate that. I'd rather just be more consistent.
I okay. This is a bit early. I still wish that 180 points did more for you, because
Oh yeah, for Gargants,
yeah.
absolutely.
In fact, let's go over man crushers because we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Th- they are the standard. Uh, bleh, what are they called? Battle line for the army. If you take three in one unit, it counts as your entire battle line. And to be perfectly honest, I think they should have just done away with battle line entirely for this army.
Yeah, but I feel so. I get why they didn't because there's specifically battle plans that require battle line to interact with
Oh,
the objectives.
yeah, you're right. So,
Um,
yep, so you get 1 for 180 with 12 wounds, 8 movement, a 5 up save, and bravery 7, which
yep,
will never matter. Because these guys will either be fine or dead. So,
exactly. And then you can pay 480 for three of them.
yep,
Um,
which is a save of about 40 points, I think. No,
yeah, it's
80 points.
it's enough to where if you want to maximize the number of man eaters you want to take in an army, it will help. But
Yep,
it's
it
not.
gets at full points. It will get you one extra Gargant if you take them in groups of 3.
Yeah, which is a 10% increase to the number of models you have on the field.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can get this army into double digits as far as models go. The most models you can get on the table is 10.
yeah, yep,
Oh man. Alrighty. That is an unfortunate wheel though. They you pay 180 for these for 2 more wounds than a 10 man
yeah.
on a 5 up save. These things are going to have trouble not being dead by whatever hits them.
The main issue is shooting, though, um, because with an 8-inch movement and their base size, um, I feel like, especially since the other ability, one of the abilities they have is keep up, which just lets them run and still charge if they're within 12 inches of a Mega Gargant, one of the giant new guys.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like because of that, it's relatively reasonable to dictate the terms of combat engagement in a lot of cases. Um, but it's not enough to help against shooting. And the other like really fast armies like Auric war clans are gonna get there first and hit harder, um,
Very much so. I
which is just unfortunate
a group
because
of
the
art
new
boys will
Gargant models are beautiful, and even the old Elguzzler Gargant, like that sculpt is still a great sculpt.
mhm. Mostly because of the variety you can put into it.
Oh yeah, and there's so many bits you get. Like, it's just a great kit.
Mhm. Yeah, but
Oh,
uh,
on the notes of kits, oh, Gargants doubled in cost.
wait,
Like,
did they? I think it's because you get 2 in a box now.
yeah, that's counting getting two in a box.
Really? That's
Yeah,
insane.
uh-huh. If only I had known, I would have bought a bunch of them beforehand. I own three already
Mhm.
because I have a problem. Um,
What are you doing, GW? You already made it hard enough to pick up this army.
yeah, I guess they just didn't want you to pay less than $800 for an army.
That's silly. I
But yeah,
like so how much is a
they
box worth
basically
now?
doubled in price.
How much is a box worth now?
Uh, let's see. I've got the Games Workshop website up. It's now 125 for a unit of two.
For 2 of these guys.
Yep,
You're paying $60 for
per
this.
Gargant. Yeah,
That's
and
awful.
they used to be like 35 a Gargant, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Or at
Well,
least that's what I got mine at. But I did get mine pretty early into Sigmar because I thought they were cool,
mm,
and we were playing like fluffy narrative stuff, and so I just wanted to have some Gargants.
fair enough. Well, you are going to have to buy a few of them
Yep.
because you're going they count as 10 models each for taking objectives,
Yeah, which
which
is
is
huge. It
it's
makes the army
mandatory.
viable.
Yeah, it's the only thing that would make an army like this work.
Yep.
And yeah, because hey, I've got my entire army on an objective point and you have a single 10-man screen and I can't take it from you.
Yeah.
That would be silly. I don't even think you could fit all these guys on one objective point. They're so chunky.
Yeah. Yep.
But yep.
What is pretty cool though is pretty much literally everything in the army um, has charge mortal wound, and being able to deal out of phase mortal wounds is always super useful. Like not having to deal it in shooting hero, like being able to do it in movement or charge, um, is super useful because if you can clear your way and then still be able to pile in. a lot of stuff in this army has 3-inch and 2-inch reach. Um,
Hmm.
so their ability to access and kill midline support heroes is pretty solid, all things considered.
Yeah, if they can get past your screens, yeah. Although three of these guys crashing into you do 3d3 mortal wounds, so you don't want to be charged by these guys.
Yeah, but and unfortunately for the little guys, that's on like a table. So if they've taken 0 to 2 wounds, it's on a 2 plus. If they've taken 3 to 4, it's on a 3 plus. 5 to 7 on a 4 plus. All the way down to 10 when it's on a 6 plus.
Uh huh.
Um,
That I I'm assuming this is by model and not the whole unit, because that would be
oh no, it's
silly.
straight up by model. Yeah, it's definitely by model because you roll for each model. Um, so it's not like I have 8 wounds on a guy, so now all my guys are doing it on a 5 plus. It's model by model.
Yeah, that'd be really silly.
Yep. They've got the old stuff them in me bag rule. Um, so after they
Which,
pile in, you can pick an enemy model. It has to be within 3 inches. Roll a dice. If it's double or more of the wound characteristics, you just kill them.
yep.
Um,
Which
and,
surprisingly
like every
raises.
Gargant has something like that, which is massive in the current meta.
Hmm. And raises their damage output by 20%.
Yeah, yeah, it helps boost their damage, but more importantly, it lets you kill the banner bearers for pink horrors and plague bearers and all those other units. It lets you kill the Hekatos for Osaric Bone Reapers,
Hmm.
um, or get rid of those freaking pesky nets and Goblin Staba units.
Oh, yeah, goblins are gonna ruin these guys with that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't think they can get through an entire unit's nets in one turn, so
No, I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be.
so either. You would have to like commit so much of your army just to kill 60 Stabas.
Yeah, I think uh, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I still don't think GW has any idea what they're doing with building stat lines for monsters.
Yeah, and I feel like Timber should have changed. Like instead of rolling off, you should just straight up get to do D3 mortal wounds.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, it is at least everything within 2 inches now. Um, but the way it works is each player's roll off before the model's removed. The winner picks a point on the battlefield within 3 inches of that model. Each unit within 2 inches of that point takes D3 mortal wounds, unless it's a Gargant, so they don't hurt themselves, which is nice because they used to be able to.
Yep.
Um,
I don't
and
think
then
it
you
should
remove
be a
the
roll
battlefield.
off. It's be-
Like,
that's just mean.
yeah,
You should
like
never give your opponent have an ability that lets your opponent use your thing. That's what's so
exactly.
terrible about our temple. That's why our
And
temple
they're weak enough that like you should just get to choose. It shouldn't be, yeah,
yeah,
that made me
because
sad.
yeah, they do not do nearly enough damage to be worth 180 points. They aren't
Exactly.
nearly
Yeah.
durable enough to be 180 points.
Yeah.
Like
If
for 180, we can take 30 skinks, which do more damage, are more survivable.
yep.
No, not yet, are more survivable
Yeah, yeah, because
and
they've got
capture
the
better.
5 plus save as well.
Yeah, and that's just one Gargant.
And they're not a monster, so skinks can get a cover bonus.
Yes, they also can give Lookout Sir and
Exactly.
receive
Yeah.
Lookout Sir. Some of these abilities are fun. Like Keep Up is great because they're
Yep.
slow, and you need these people to be exactly where you want to because you only have 9 of them.
Yes.
But they only have one headbutt attack, and they hit on fours.
Yeah. So what I would have really liked to see, like, I think their base stat line is fine, but I think they needed abilities like on the charge, you get +1 damage and +1 wound to all your attacks, something like that. Um,
Mm.
like I would have liked to see them since they are glass. I would have liked to see a bit more cannon,
Yeah,
where like,
they are worse than glass. Even our glass units are more durable than these things.
yeah, yeah. So that's sad for me. Um, but the good news is I don't have to worry about losing to Sons of Behemoth.
Yeah, Seraphon don't have to worry about these guys.
Yep.
40 skinks properly buffed. No, sorry. 80 skinks properly buffed will kill a Mega Gargant in one turn.
Yeah.
And so, if
Well,
anyone they
that and the army has no wizards.
yeah, no wizards whatsoever. They
There's
can
one sub faction you can take
that makes
to
you a
use an artifact slot,
yeah,
of
that
which you can
makes
only
you a
have one
bad
because they're
wizard.
battalions, to
Although
have a wizard.
yeah, to make you a bad wizard. Although it would be
Yeah.
hilarious to see a Kraken Eater on top of a Balewind.
Well, his wound count's too high, but yeah,
Oh
that would
yeah,
be.
that would be that's too bad. So they
I would
can't
allow
do
it.
that
Like if my opponent was like, "I brought a Bellwind," I'd be like, "Go for it."
because yeah. Oh man, that reminds me of my early games in Sigmar. The store I play at has that old Wizard's Tower terrain piece.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so every single time, I didn't care if it was good or bad, but I put my Balewind on top of the like channeling platform on top of that, and then put my Slan on top of that, so it was a 2 foot tall wizard.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like.
it's not terribly practical, but at least it'd be funny.
Yeah. I mean, it would give me agita. Like I just know it's gonna get knocked over.
Right. Well, that's he wasn't glued, and his model is resin, so he doesn't care.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's the Man Crusher Gargants.
You're gonna see a lot of these because Gargants aren't a killy army.
Yep.
They're a tempo army, and this gives you the most bodies per points.
I
And
mean, honestly, this is a cool factor army, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see three big Gargants and three little Gargants.
heck, I let people play four. Nobody wants to play man crushers. They just want to play the cool new guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I wouldn't care if my opponent did that, but like at a tournament, I don't know. I feel like this is a vanity army that people are doing for kit bashing and hobby. I don't know that you're going to see a whole lot of min maxing with them.
Right.
The Gatebreaker Gargant is interesting, and I
Yeah.
think it looks the best, but I don't think it is the best.
I
Like
think.
I think looking at the War
Yeah.
Scroll, it looks really strong. Um, but my favorite we'll get to later.
Yeah. Everybody. As far as looks goes, this one's the most popular. It's not my
Yep.
favorite looking, and it's definitely not my favorite rules wise. But it's a Mega Gargant, and all Mega Gargants have variations on the same abilities. They have
Yep.
Death Grip, which is the above stuff in your net. In your net, what the Kraken Eater we'll talk about later gets a better one, but they have Longshanks, which lets them act like they were flying during their movement phase. Hey, it looks like GW's been reading my notes.
Yeah.
And they have Timber like before, and they have Crushing Charge like before.
Yep.
So all of the Mega Gargants have these abilities, even if they change. And
And they
most,
have Son of Behemoth, which just says anything that would slay the model outright through an ability, instead just deals D6 mortal wounds to it.
which is good because you
Yes.
don't want to take 500 points into an army and then have Nagash just finger of death you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. They also all have Terror, which lowers bravery by 1, which no one cares about.
And I feel
But
like it should have, like, I would have rathered, like, all enemy units um, in range, whatever the range they choose to be is, has to take a battle shock test, and you can't use a command point to not take a battle shock test.
yeah,
Um,
that would actually
that
make
would
these
have
guys
been a much better rule.
yeah, that makes these guys okay in combat.
Yep. But
Not
as it is, just like -1, like woohoo, you killed one more thing. Like if it's heavy cavalry, that matters, but in most cases, it's not going to do a whole
like
lot for you.
does it? I think that I don't think heavy cavalry will lose enough models to matter, or they'll be in too small units.
Well, like if you kill two gore gruntas and then you make one run, that's pretty good. Same for like mighty skull crushers.
True, but like they're on Sever Bravery, aren't they? Yeah, okay. It'll help.
And then they've got timber, which now is 5 inches instead of 2 inches. Uh,
Yeah,
you still have to roll off for it though. Like this should not have been the case with the mega gargants, much
no.
less the man crushers.
Like you think that when they feel themselves going down, they can just like hurl themselves at an enemy. In
Yeah.
fact, that should be an errata to the timber. That if they're at just like below 5 wounds, you can choose to kill that guy to dictate where timber goes.
That and make it bigger. Like instead of like,
Yeah, where instead of just falling over, he body slams into a unit of 40.
yeah, so it's like pick a point and then within 6 inches or something. Like make it cover a bigger area.
Yeah, call it death throws.
This is actually one of those units where I feel like blast templates would have been good to come back. Like give a blast template for timber and then roll dice equal to the number of models under it, and it does mortal wounds on a whatever
Yeah,
plus.
it's essentially is a blast template without using the template because 3 inches
Exactly,
was
yeah.
was a small
Except
blast.
it's unit by unit instead of model by model.
Hmm. Oh, and have it like
Uh,
a horde breaker effect,
huh?
and have it be the horde breaker type effect.
Exactly, yeah. Like on a 5+, 4+, whatever plus you want to make it. Um, that would have been nice.
Alrighty. Other
Uh,
things that Mega Gargants all share is they all have the same wheel. They have movement varies. The Gatebreaker has 12 movement. The Kraken has 11 movement at top bracket, and War Stomper has 10 movement at top bracket,
yep.
which isn't great considering how few models you have. They
Yeah,
all, yeah, they all share Bravery 7. They all have 35 wounds, which is
is a
okay.
lot.
It's a lot, but they do cost for 500 points each,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, they have a save of 4+.
Mm.
Why do you do this, GW?
They really like.
Why do you hate monsters so much?
I think if they were going to give them a 4+, they should have made them unrendable.
Yes, give them ethereal
Yeah. Otherwise, they should have had a 3+.
or bring indestructible saves in so that it can only drop by like one.
Yeah, something like that. Because like, how much is a sword gonna hurt a foot that's bigger than your horse?
Well, that's always been a problem since the death of toughness, but
String. Yeah, exactly.
this is the world we live in.
Yeah, so I don't know. Because of that, I would have liked to have seen them be ethereal, um, or reduce rend by 2 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, reduce rend by well, yeah, that means nothing. That would essentially make them ethereal, with the exceptions of
yeah, it would. But then, like, if you
Beasts
do
of
the whole
Chaos or
rend
Iron
by
Breakers,
Chaos Lance, Nurgle, Chaos Lord on Manticore, it's still gonna impel them.
or Achelion, or Iron
Yeah,
Drakes,
exactly.
or Beasts of Chaos could do it,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
no
And it
one.
still
Beast of
Rend
Chaos
3
isn't gonna
in,
win.
'cause that would be Rend 1 and other stuff. Which, speaking of Rend, uh, most of the Gargant's attacks are Rend 3 or 2, but like Rend 3 is more often than not.
I mean, it has to be because you're not going to get most of these attacks to the save
Yeah,
phase because almost all of their attacks are having one attacks or
2
the two
attacks. Yeah.
attacks. So it'll happen every now and again. Getting past
Yep.
a 3-2 save, 3-2 stat line isn't impossible,
Yeah.
but
The Mega Gargant, however, instead of having like a stuff them in your bag type thing, they have Death Grip, which is a single attack, threes and twos, Rend 3 d6 damage. His for Death Grip rerolls hit rolls of 1. Um,
yep, all of the Mega Gargants have an ability that lets them reroll ones on one of their attacks. This guy gets it on Death Grip,
yep. Which ups his killiness by a decent amount.
which
Um,
is killing one model makes your guy significantly better at killing.
yep.
Let's see. This one also has the unique ability of Smashdown,
Yes.
which means that at the end of the combat phase, you can pick one terrain feature within 3 inches of this model, roll a dice, and if the roll is equal to or greater than the smash down dice, which because it's hard to profile them is pretty decent,
Yep.
the roll that terrain feature
It's
is
2
reduced to
plus 2
rubble.
plus 4 plus. Yeah.
It's not removed, so blocking terrain still blocks you and
Yep.
varying, but its scenery rule is replaced with deadly, which means don't care about it,
Yep.
and its keywords are changed to scenery and rubble.
Yep. They also get to add 1 to all damage inflicted by any attack made against a unit that's either wholly within terrain, so it has the cover bonus, or is in a
Garrison,
garrison.
so KO.
Yep.
And
KO and Seraphon if they get to our temple and we've got guys in it.
yep,
Um,
the problem is actually hitting those guys
yes. Yep.
because, as above mentioned, one attack at now a 4 up to hit, or
Yeah.
a 5 up with their flail.
And the other major thing with this army is they don't have any synergies. Like there's no
There is not a
rerolls or gain to hit or to like they don't buff each other. The
there's not
only
a
thing
single
is
buff
keep
in
up.
this game beyond generic command traits.
Yeah.
Not one. So these guys, what you see is what you get, and what you see is kind of bad.
Yeah. The Mega Gargant actually has a ranged attack, as is the Kraken. But the Mega Gargant for the Gatebreaker has Hurl Boulder. Its tiering is range, which is fine because if you've taken damage, you're probably in combat. You don't care if you have less range.
Right.
But it's a single attack, threes and twos, Rend 3/4 damage. So it's just a more consistent cannon.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
it's
like
a cannon +1.
yeah, it's like the Maha Cruncher's shout. It doesn't matter. Every now and again, it'll tick a couple of guys off. It could snipe a support hero some of the
Yeah,
time.
the fact that it starts at a 3 plus, um, like it's got a 50% chance roughly to one shot a skink, star priest or priest.
Less if they're nearby troops, because Lookout Sir is a thing.
Yeah, because then it will be a 4 plus into a 2 plus. Um,
Yep.
but a 3 plus 2 plus Rend 3/4 damage, like you'll want to make sure even more so than normal when you see these guys that you're getting your priest lookout sir. Um,
Or you tie them up in combat immediately with a 10-man skink unit.
yeah, but 10-inch movement with an 18-inch range, um, you'll want to make sure you're deploying like more than 28 inches back so they don't just smash your priest with a boulder.
Yeah.
But
That's
then otherwise they've got pretty low profile attacks. It's got the Almighty Stomp, 2 attacks, threes and threes, run 2d3. It's 2-inch range, so that's cool. They've got their Death Grip, which is the d6 damage. It's a single attack. Um, the
also
Fort Crusher flow, those 10 attacks, fours and threes, rend 3, 3 damage. Um,
which is the only good attack that you'll have to worry about.
yeah, and you should expect to take like 12 to 15 damage on a unit of skinks from these guys. Um,
Let's
like
see.
they'll hurt. Um, so make sure you're saving command points to pass battle shock uh, if they're getting into you first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if
Well,
you can spend your command points and just murder them with shooting, do
or
that.
screen well, or play
Yep.
Sotek, or have more than a single unit of 40 because we can do that.
I feel like against Sons of Behemoth though, like you want to go
Well,
pedal to the floor. Like you want to kill as much as you can as quickly as possible
yep.
because if they start picking you apart, um, then you're going to lose. Like that's how they win.
Yeah, I don't think there's any downside to being aggressive either, because
Yeah,
they only ever have like 4 units,
yeah, yeah.
and
So their
you could.
their
I think
action economy is pretty awful.
yeah, I think I would be hard pressed not to be able to kill two half their army in a single turn.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's super easy to remove these guys.
Yeah.
With one exception that we will get to in the get to later, but you can just ignore him. He's one guy. But
Uh,
hmm?
Next Mega Gargant is the War Stomper.
The War Stomper. Now this is the guy I think looks the coolest.
Same, because he looks like just a bigger version of the Man Crusher,
Yeah, he looks just like a
and
boss.
I love
He's
his
got this.
beard.
Yeah, the big old like the chaos corruption horn. He looks more dangerous because he is more dangerous.
Yep.
This is the most killy guy in the game by a fair margin. Um, sorry, this is the most killy guy in the army, not the game.
Yeah, yeah,
He is outdamaged by every hammer in the game, but he is a horde breaker, which means that his main weapon deals more damage the more models are within range to a limit of 10. Plus,
yep.
it has a minimum attack on these, which has always needed to be a thing. At full brackets, he does at least 5 attacks and up to 14, or up to 10, depending on how the errata rolls for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got the above mentioned abilities that are the same. He has Almighty Jump, which means he rerolls ones on his jump up and down ability,
Yep.
which isn't terrible. But his Death Grip ability is added by Hurl Body, which is a
Yes.
hilarious ability that will do nothing. But once in combat, you can pick one enemy model within range. If this model roll a dice, if it's twice the wounds characteristic, just like Death Grip, it dies. You then get to chuck it at somebody, and on a 4-up, you do the wounds in mortal wounds.
Yeah.
This isn't a good ability, but it's a funny ability because most of the things that you'd want to grab and throw with this, the wounds characteristic is too high.
Yeah.
Like this won't affect Croxagore, this won't affect salamanders, this won't affect. It's going to have a hard time affecting even knights or temple guard,
Yep.
but he'll huck a skink at other skinks, which is funny as hell.
Yeah.
But
Uh, it's got the same whatever. Titanic Boulder Club is the now it's a Monster Slayer. Um,
right, it for every model in range, it gets +1 attack to a max of 10, which
yeah.
again we're waiting on the errata. It might mean that's as high as the attacks can go, which means it maxes out at
Or
10,
add a max of 10.
or that it's 10 plus whatever your base Titanic Boulder Club is. So it's either 10 or 14. We don't know which,
Exactly.
and it's gonna matter a lot on these guys because
Yep.
Titanic, yeah, they're
At the moment, if my opponent was playing this, I would interpret it as 14.
yeah, that's my go-to as well. But GW has done dumb stuff before, so
Yeah.
not much more to say about him. He's the slowest Gargant, he's the most smashy Gargant, and
He's the least rending though. Like he's got two attacks that are rend 2. He doesn't have a throw. He's only got one attack that's at rend 3 and it's a single attack. So he's definitely like your horde breaker. Like he's going to those 5-up saves, not the 4-up saves.
mm,
Um,
does it? Yeah, even with 4-up saves, he does more damage because of just how many models he can hit.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But he's definitely like designed to be going into hordes, which is good because hordes are still a big part of the game.
Very much so. Even our shooting our hordes if he can get there.
Yep.
If he can get there.
This one I think is the best Gargant, the Kraken
Yes.
Eater.
Hmm? Ah,
He's got a ranged attack. He's got the hurl debris, and that's 24 inches. Which, when you add that to an 11-inch movement, that's a pretty good threat range.
hmm?
Uh, it's 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, rend 1 D3 damage. Um, so that's pretty good for killing support heroes.
Yep.
Um, he's
It
got
yeah, it'll
okay,
do an average of 2 damage per attack against support
yep,
heroes. It can spike higher though, so be careful.
yeah, it's
Much
just the D3.
yeah.
Um,
Keep your guys
and
behind cover or next to. Lookout Sir just ruins these guys in every
oh
way
yeah, yeah,
possible.
yep, yeah. The
Or
lookout serve helps a lot.
or Geminids. Hit them with Geminids. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, no, like -1 attack and or -1 to hit uh, really hurts a Gargant army.
Yeah, I wouldn't do them -1 attack. This is actually one of the few armies I would ignore the -1 attacks because most of their attacks are at 1 anyway, and the other one is at like at 10. So, but minus
Yeah,
one,
taking off one isn't as big of a deal.
yeah, -1 to hit will make them all hit on 4s or 5s, which is
Yeah, yep.
awful.
Yeah, it's like a 17% reduction in hits.
Yeah, and it takes them from okay to hit to just bad to hit.
Yep.
But why don't we go into his other abilities? His kill models abilities is better than the rest of them.
Yeah, he's got Stuff 'em in Minette. which after he makes a pile in, you pick D3 enemy models within 3 inches, roll a dice for each of them. If the roll is at least double that model's wound characteristics, it's slain. So, like, being able to kill all three command models in basic battle line is huge. Uh,
For
like, I killed your musician, your sergeant, and your banner bearer. Just boom. Um,
yeah, it doesn't affect us as much because the if you're running Saurus, you're already into them, so the drums and the banner don't help.
yeah, yeah. Well, your bravery, yeah, you don't care
Al-
about that.
Also, you have six of those in in
In a
your
unit, yep.
yeah, six of each of those
But
in your
it'll help
unit.
them a lot if they ever get into Zinch, if they somehow aren't shot to death.
Yep.
Um, and it actually makes for a decent matchup against OBR. Like out of the top tier armies, I think OBR has the most to fear from the new Gargants.
Because losing their command points generators and their point spawners is really painful. Hekatos need their guys.
Yeah, and OBR is normally like a 20-man units, their horde. So they're just not going to outnumber. Like you only got to kill one a turn, and they're not going to deal enough damage. Like this army actually presents a problem for OBR.
Yep. And
Uh,
you really like this ability, and I think it's a novelty. But tell me about get off me land.
yeah. So this is the other reason. In fact, it's probably the main reason, just because I love the thematic of it. Um, that makes this a great monster. In your hero phase, which that's the downside, if you have this model with this ability within an inch of an objective that you control, you can pick one of those models and say it's going to kick the objective away, and then you move that objective up to 2d6 inches to a new position on the battlefield. That position has to be more than an inch from any terrain or models, other than other objective markers. And an objective can't be kicked away more than once in the same phase, which is too bad because I would love to like punt it to another one and
Who
then
punts
punt
it?
it to
Who
that
punts
one.
it? Yeah,
Uh,
that would make it okay. You'd make you take more than one Kraken Eater, and you don't want to take more than one Kraken Eater.
yeah,
It'd still be
uh,
fun just to play
but
ball
I
roll.
actually really like it because I feel like this is an objective game army, anyways,
Very much
because
so.
they're not super killy,
And
but they
they're
count for a lot of models.
mm,
So being able to move an objective away, like, yay, I finally swamped and surrounded your guy. Like, on my turn, I'm going to be able to take this objective. And then you're like, boom, objective's over there. Um,
yeah. I mm, and my problem with it is mainly if you've swamped the Gargant, you've killed the Gargant.
yeah, no, it's more of like a you're going to get to me, so I'm going to kick it away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, how I see this getting used most often is like the Son of Behemoth player runs up, gets on an objective, takes it. They get a
Survives
double
up,
turn, and then they kick
survives.
that
Yeah,
objective away.
yeah. They. I don't know how they get a double turn though because they don't want to go second.
Yeah, I don't know. So I
And
can see them going first or second. Like you, because you're gonna get outdropped by KO and Disciples of Zinj.
almost
And in
anyone
what
that
world
isn't
are they not going to
Seraphon.
take first turn and shoot half your army to death?
Yeah,
Uh,
and anyone who gets the choice wants to go first so that they can set up on you because you are very much a tempo army that can't go first.
exactly, yeah. So I don't know. I kind of feel like Sons of Behemoth frequently are going to be going second in a turn.
Except against cities or us, and against cities it doesn't matter. They're going to kill them in 2 turns, no question. And against
Exactly,
us,
yeah.
we can out tempo them.
Yeah. Yep.
But
I mean, I would potentially even a Seraphon make them go second.
I mean,
Because
yeah.
I could just run up with my skinks and murder stuff.
Well, I just drop a 40-man skink unit in the backfield and just pin them there the entire game.
Yeah.
But the main problems I have with Get Off Me Land is it's only useful on a double turn because you have to survive long enough to be able to kick it. And this
Yep.
army has to spread out. This is going to be a big problem with a lot of their buff abilities later, but in order to play the tempo game that they're good is the only thing they're good at, they have to be in a lot of places at once, which usually
Yep.
means they're farther away than 12 inches, which is the max of this ability. So you're essentially just punting the objective in order to for it to be claimed because it's now unguarded.
Yeah. The other important thing is doing that might make them have to go after the objective instead of going after your model.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know, man. I really like it. I don't think it's going to come up in every game, but when you need it and can use it, I think it's incredibly helpful.
Fair. Yeah. The thing is, I just don't think it when you need it and when you can use it will come up nearly often enough to make this something to plan your army around.
Yeah, no, no, I don't think this is like a my strategy is to get off my land. Um,
Every now and again, it'll be fun, and if somebody doesn't know you can do it, it might be good.
yeah, well, and like especially because at least in my mind, the sub faction that I would be running would be the Takers, which is the Kraken Eater sub faction.
Mm-hmm.
So you're counting as 30 instead of 20 on your Mega Gargant. Um, so there's a lot of units where like you just run up and the objective's yours, um, and they have to send
Well,
other units to
uh,
stop you from having it,
true. This
which
is
means they have to commit because they don't want you to kick it away.
yeah.
Um,
That's
like I
only
don't know. I feel like it does more impact not because you use it, but because it could be used.
yeah. The thing is, you have to get on the objective, and
Oh yeah, you
if
can totally zone that.
yeah, zone
Um,
proper zoning will just ruin this army.
yep. There are, however, now a lot of battle plans where you can't fully engulf your objectives from where they start. Like there's a lot that start on the deployment line
Mm-hmm.
um, or outside of deployment now, so that you're not automatically on top of it.
Right.
And like focal points where it starts out in the middle of no man's land and it's worth more, like you can run your Gargant right up there and then kick it back onto your side. Um,
Yeah. It,
you can kick the objective away that your opponent planned his double turn around getting to burn, and now all of a sudden it's not there and he can't burn it. Um,
it has some fringe benefits. Yes.
yeah, like it's better than the other like hurl body or smash down, in my opinion,
Yes, very much so. It's the best,
because it will win you a game versus doing a bit more damage.
or being hilarious.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think that for we're about to go into factions, which I like the War Stomper best actually because he's the only one who you can make into a proper monster.
yeah,
But as, with that being said, let's address factions because a lot of the minutia comes from these guys.
yeah.
They don't have
Um,
battalions, so we can ignore battalions. They don't have
yep.
spells, so we can ignore spells. They don't have. I'm gonna keep doing this because they don't have a whole lot. How big is the
I
book?
guess we actually never technically went over the allegiance abilities.
Right, that's what we're
So
getting
they
to.
have Mightier makes Rightier. This we
Which,
talked about.
yep,
Man Crusher Gargants count as 10 models for holding objectives. Mega Gargants count as 20.
as
They've
necessary
got
as this ability was, that is a dick move, GW. Taking, just calling it bigger, better ogres.
yes, yes. Uh, they've also got Chuck Rocks. In your shooting phase, you can pick a friendly Maw Crusher Gargant unit wholly within 18 inches of your general. Each unit can make an 18-inch range D3 attack, fours and threes, rend one D3 damage shot. Um,
If anyone ever uses this, get them help. Get them mental help. This is the worst command ability I have ever seen.
yeah.
It does on average 1.2
Well,
damage.
it's not a command ability. It's just an ability in your shooting phase. They
Can
just get that shot. man eaters or man crushers.
It's okay. This is worded weird then because it looks like it's a command ability.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
see it as a command
During
ability.
your shooting phase, your Mega Gargants can command one unit wholly within to chuck rocks.
Oh,
And there's
that's not the wording in my book. It says in your
uh,
shooting phase, you can pick one friendly Maw Crusher Gargant unit,
ah
fully within 18 inches of your general. Each model in that unit can make a shooting attack with a chunk of rock missile weapon below.
okay. So it's oh shoot then. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the
Oh,
at
4chan?
no the Warhammer home page that talks about it. It looks like a command ability here. They must have changed it.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe it got changed the other way. Like, who knows? Maybe it got nerfed. But under the allegiance abilities, Mega Gar or Man Crushers just get a D3, Force 3s, Rend 1 D3 damage shooting attack.
Yeah,
Um,
one of them as long as they're in range.
yep. Yeah. So, yeah, that's not bad.
Yep. So which tribe do you want to touch on first? Breaker,
Uh,
Taker, Stomper?
let's do takers since it's an order and I don't want to flip back and forth in my battle tome.
Fair enough. So, General, they get rid of them, which turns
Uh huh.
their kick objectives from 2d6 to 3d6.
Yep.
Uh,
And Man
and
Crushers count as 15, Megas count as 30.
yep. So if you're playing a tempo, this is the ability to take
Yep.
because that makes you. I don't know. I think it's overkill because almost nothing was going to take it from you anyway.
Well, so now it puts Mortek Guard and Fire Slayers uh in range to where you can just walk onto the objective and take it.
Right. If they don't nuke you in return.
Yep. And it makes it that much harder for Beast Claw Raiders to take things from you. Like now
Okay.
they have to send in 3 behemoths in order to tie you on an objective.
Mhm.
Uh, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. So against a couple French armies, this was going to help a lot. Most of the time, it's gilding the lily, but it's probably the best ability in the for them if they're playing the
Yep.
board. Next general
Uh,
ability is more stuff for me to collect.
yeah.
Yeah. Every time you kill an enemy wielding an artifact, so maybe once a game, you get a triumph.
Yep.
You already
And you
get
can use it even if you already used it.
yep. You already are getting a triumph um
The way the points break out.
because the way the points break out, you're going to be 80 points down. You can't take allies. That's it.
Yep.
That's a shame. But um yeah, back in the day where uh realm artifacts were a thing, this would have been fairly useful. You would have gotten this twice, maybe three times a game if you actually went after those heroes.
Yeah.
And people would be giving their guys combat artifacts, so they'd be sending them towards you, and you'd be able to smash them.
Yep.
Now you're not going to see it much because you're not going to get to those backline heroes because you're not fast enough and things are in the way.
I guess, but I think of like a lot of the sub faction artifacts that are attached to different armies.
Hmm.
And a lot of them are like, well, you put it on your minor damage hero who's going to be out front as a mid range support. And so, like, I feel like the Corn, like against Blades of Corn, you're going to be able to kill their artifact bearers. Against Slaves to Darkness, there's a good chance you'll kill their artifact bearers. Even against Fangs of Sotek, you'll probably kill the artifact bearer because, like, they're going to try and do D6 mortal wounds to you with the Serpent Fang.
Only if they're
Um,
dumb. There are better
yeah, I
ways
mean,
for
it
our
depends on
army.
who you put it on. Like, if you're doing the Pterodon thing where you put it on your Pterodon
Oh,
chief.
okay, yeah, I can see that. But I think we have better ways of doing damage, and we don't want to give them a triumph because
Oh, for sure.
we already make
Yeah,
their damage significantly poor with all the stuff we can throw at them.
yeah.
But let's see, they have this one has the most artifacts, which
Uh huh.
it's okay. Their artifacts are kind of mediocre. And they've got command traits. They have Monstrous Tough, which makes them 40 wounds instead of 35.
which
Prob-
is great. I like that one a lot.
it's probably the best one. Reroll save rolls of 1, which is useless because they do
Yeah,
that
if they
any.
were a 3+, that would be fantastic.
Or if you couldn't just do that because they have nothing to spend command points on because no one has command abilities.
Yeah,
Uh, Louder than words, add 1 to your attacks for the club, which no, this
that's not
does.
bad.
He already has 8 attacks.
Yep.
You'd be better off re-rolling ones.
Then they've got the strong right foot, which is the get off my land is now 3d6.
Yep, I that was my mistake earlier. But you have very acquisition. You get 2 artifacts instead of 1. Again,
Which I
if realm artifacts were a thing, I'd think this would be amazing, but they're not. So
that's fair. But if I were building a Gargant army, because the big Gargants are freaking beautiful, I would probably be running 2 Mega Gargants. At which point I might take very acquisitive in order to get an artifact on each of my Mega Gargants.
mm. And we have extremely intimidating, -1 to hit rolls for every enemy model within 3.
And that's probably the one I would take if I were trying to be competitive.
Yeah, it'll save you more often than not. It's not going to help against shooting, but it'll it'll essentially give you a 3-up save um, against melee guys.
Yep.
We ha-
The artifacts of power, most of them are pretty like get rerolls, add some rend,
which
do
is
things on a 4+. The one that needs clarification is Glowy Lantern. The bearer can attempt to cast one spell, unbind one spell, in the same manner as a wizard. The bearer knows the arcane bolt and mystic shield spells.
yeah, it needs clarification because it doesn't say you are now a wizard. It doesn't
Correct.
according to the wording, it doesn't allow you to dispel endless spells, which is not great for an army that can't walk over them.
Yes. So if this gives the bearer the wizard keyword, and now you can spend 80 points and bring an endless spell,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then this glowy lantern artifact becomes the one to take. Um,
If not, then it I'd skip it.
yeah.
You aren't a good wizard even with this, so
Yep.
yeah. It would be the above mentioned funny thing of a Gargant on a Balewind. You can't do
Yeah.
that. Too many wounds, but it would be funny as heck, and I'd let them. They're struggling enough as is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Otherwise, I think Kraken skin sandals are the one to take. It
St-
just adds a rend to basically all their
yeah,
attacks.
it adds +1 attacks, adds rend, and adds damage.
Yeah, their D3 attack just becomes flat 3, which is a substantial buff.
Very much so. Um,
Um,
I don't know. Some of these artifacts just are so sad. Like Jaws of the Megalodon, once per phase reroll 1 save, hit, or wound roll. That's just
yeah.
why even print that?
Because you can re-roll that one that you rolled on your to wound roll for your crushing grip.
Yeah, still no.
Uh, the wallop and tentacles also just kind of whatever. At the start of the combat phase, you pick an enemy hero within 3 inches, roll a dice. On a 4+, they take a mortal wound, and then you can re-roll hit rolls of ones for attacks that target that hero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's like, oh, you charge, or I got into your Stonehorn Frost Lord. Well, now I'm going to walloping tentacle it and make my damage that much more consistent against them.
Yep.
Um,
It,
like it's good for removing problem heroes, but I feel like Kraken Skin Sandals is the one to take.
right. I just want to gripe about how bad GW is at making artifacts. Like Jar of Burning Grog once per battle. You can pick one enemy within 3 of the bear on a 2+. It takes 3d3. Why is this? And you also get to reroll wounds for Gargants that target that unit.
Yep.
Why is this a once per battle ability? Nothing in this.
Yeah, especially since on a 1, the
You
guy who's holding the artifact takes D3 mortal wounds.
those should not be on the same thing. You should never have 2 negatives to an artifact or anything
Yeah.
for that matter.
Yep.
Yeah, mass rerolls are good, but not that good, especially when when you're
KO gets it with the flare pistol for free. Like it's once per battle, and all he had to do was do damage with it.
right, but uh, you aren't going to have your units close enough to take advantage of this. This isn't the
Yeah.
combat faction. That's the Stompas. In the
Yep.
Stompas, it'd actually be very good, but it's not in there. So
Yep.
why?
But Stomper Tribe, that's the next one.
I would have rather they had written 3 good artifacts than 6 bad ones. And one,
So Lantern has the potential to be really good, and I will say Kraken Skin Sandals is solid.
yeah,
Um,
but
like it's a solid damage increase.
if you were given a proper option, like an actually good artifact, these would never be on the board for things you'd be considering.
Oh, true.
So, yeah, it's not a, oh, should I take this or this? It's a, this is the only thing useful. Let's do this.
Yep.
Alrighty. So, Stompa Tribes. Getting, Stompa Tribes actually have some, a really interesting ability that isn't going to help often. Their bellowing lunks essentially makes all generic command abilities communal to everyone within 18 of the general.
Yes.
Yeah, this has the above mentioned everyone is
But you
going to
can't
be
use generics.
yes. Well, why would you? It's just the better version of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of the generics are here, but now it affects everybody.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's just an upgrade to generic command abilities, which is great if you weren't spread out all over the place. At
I
the,
guess, but I feel like you're always going to have your unit of 3 Gargants near your big Gargant because you want to be able to shoot with your 3-man unit for 3d3 shots, and you want to be able to run in charge with them. Like, I feel like you use your big Gargant to slingshot your unit of 3-man
yeah,
crushers upfield.
this is another reason why I think that the hurl rocks is a command ability because grab those rocks and chuck them at something. Let's you use a command ability to have this apply to everyone in range.
I mean, now instead of just being able to pick one unit, you can pick all units.
Fair
So
enough,
I feel like
but
that's a fair trade.
I think they need to errata this. But so I would love to see this ability in other armies. In this one, I think it's okay,
Yeah.
but it's super interesting. Just
And this is definitely like the Horde Killer army because you
yes,
add 1 damage inflicted by each attack. If the unit has 10 or more models, you add 2 damage if it has 20 or more
yeah,
models.
against for all man crushers. This
Yep.
is an amazing ability, and it's something to keep an eye on when you're. This doubles or triples their damage against us in specific because we need to take such big blocks.
Yep. And it doesn't say in the combat. So, like, now that shooting against a big unit is D3 plus 2 damage for each successful one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it becomes not awful shooting. Like, if you have 9 Gargants shooting D3 shots each, fours and threes,
They'll do
rend
about
one D2 damage.
they'll do about 12 damage,
Yeah, which isn't
which is solid.
unsubstantial.
It'll clear that screen that's in the way of you charging what you actually want to get to. So
Exactly.
yeah, and I do like the names of all the new command abilities. It
Oh
it
yeah.
fits Giant so well. Just get
Oh,
a move, all
yeah.
you
Shoot
slackers. I will if anyone plays this faction against them, I demand every time they use that ability, they say it in character.
guard.
Oi, you! Yes! Charge!
Yeah.
It's a fun one. But command traits, they have monstrously tough, which before is the 40 wounds
Yep.
instead of 35, which is
And old and gnarly, which is the same.
roll the saves. Louder the words, add 1 to your attacks to your club, which doesn't matter at all for this guy because he's already making 14 attacks with his club.
Yep.
Um, in inescapable grip, roll a dice, re-roll the dice for hurled body ability. Which, if what you're doing is just meme army, which is what this is,
Yep.
I take this one just so you can chuck more people at people.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm taking eager for the fight.
Ah, yeah, fair enough. Rolling 3d6 for your charge is really good.
and being able to charge within 18 instead of 12.
Mhm. Uh,
Yeah, like that's 100% the command ability I would take if I'm running this.
because this is the smashy army. You're smashing with it. It's fun. Very
Yeah,
shabby.
like if you're taking this army, you're going for tempo. You're like, okay, I'm going to move up the field. I'm going to slingshot 9 man crusher Gargants after I've thrown their boulders. And then I'm going to try and charge them, and I'm going to make a 3d6 inch charge with my big guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're going all in. You're trying to overwhelm. Uh,
They. Yep. They do have the best artifact in the book, which is Ironweld Cestus. Rerolling
yes.
failed saves actually makes a War Stomper a good monster.
Yeah. In
And
addition,
you deal a mortal wound if the save roll is a 6.
yeah, he's got an Iron Fist.
Yep, this this makes a terrible save for a monster really solid. And
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to play a combat monster, I really wish you could take this with you because it would actually make War Stomper tempting. Because,
yeah.
man, so frustrating. But
Uh,
Club of the Four
and then the
Star,
other ones are meh.
you heal one wound, which is you have 35. No,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Like,
and if the wound, if the
best
bear
case
is,
scenario, you heal 5 wounds in the game.
yep, and on a 4-up, you don't take that last wound that will kill you, and the rest of the attacks that are still going to kill you are gone.
Yeah,
So it doesn't break, so you can keep using this. So it makes him fairly durable, but not in this. No, the Iron Weld still's better,
yep,
unless you're going up against Rend 3 units. So yeah. Mantle of the Destroyer, friendly Gargant units within 12 have bravery characters to 10. Your monsters, why do you care?
yep.
You can reroll charges though, which is these are actually all good, but Ironweld is just the best because you need your
Yeah.
general alive, and you can
You know,
already
maybe
reroll
if you
charge.
are actually going all in on the I'm going to charge you and hope for the best, you take Mantle of the Destroyer because you're like, whatever, I'm fighting with my big guy first, so I don't care if I have a rerollable save.
Or you just use OU yes charge and get it anyway.
Exactly, exactly.
Yep. So if you see this on the other side of the table, this guy wants to smash you. So setup is going to be important. You're going to want
Yep.
to screen well. Just string out a line of 40 skinks, you'll be fine. And then,
Or alternatively, just deploy back because they've got low movement.
yeah, true. They won't be able
Like
to get to you turn one. And by
12 inches and 10 inches, like you can just deploy far enough back that you are out of declarable charge range.
yep, I'd actually, I'd be trying to bait them closer just so I can kill them and get it over faster.
Eh,
Yeah, because a big block of 40 skinks is going to be very tempting to get all those guys into, and then they're
that's
just
true because they'll just evaporate the skinks if they actually get to swing against them.
right. And because they want to smash, they'll want to smash. They charge in there, and then you just tidy them up. They get to kill a 40-man unit, so they don't. They do feel useless, but not as useless,
Yeah, they
and then
still
you
got to
win.
pick up some of your models off the table.
Yep. As instead of just nobody.
And then the final tribe, the Breaker tribe.
It's very in theme, but it's bad.
Yep,
Fierce
they
low.
get to add 1 to damage inflicted by attacks made by man crushers
Yeah.
for anything that's part of a garrison or wholly within terrain. Um,
Is that break down the houses?
yeah, and then also at the end of the combat phase, they get to pick a terrain feature and they get to do the smashy thing.
Yep.
Uh,
Everybody smashes.
yep,
The
you pick a terrain feature within 3 inches. You roll a dice, add the number of models in that unit to the roll. On a 7+, the terrain feature is reduced to rubble. So if you had 3 models, it would happen on a 4+.
yep.
Um,
They also have fierce loathings, which
yep.
would be good but isn't. You get +1 to hit against one of the following unit types: heroes or wizards. You're not going to be hitting wizards; they're too well protected. Heroes, maybe, if you don't
Yeah,
charge them with a Carnosaur, I guess. Idiots with flags is weird because nothing has the totem keyword anymore. If by that they mean banner bearers, this is awesome. but I don't think they do.
So there are a couple things with because the blood secretor has the totem keyword. Now I gotta check, but I'm pretty sure the astrolith bearer has the totem keyword.
He did. I'm not sure if he still does.
I'm pulling my battle tome out now. I'm curious. I have questions that need answering.
Ha.
Uh, it probably would have been quicker to pull it up on the app, but Order Saurus. Oh, that's the Eternity Warden. I'm even looking at the wrong one. Okay, did I miss it? Old Blood. Man, I didn't think it'd be before the slam.
I don't think they're alphabetical. They might be.
Astrolith Bearer still has totem keyword.
Okay, so it does affect our Astros bearer if they can actually get to him, because
And
he's
the Herald, not the Heralder, the Vexilor, Knight Vexilor. Like, there's still a lot of single battle standard bearers that are like hero units that have the totem keyword.
yeah. Still, this makes me think they might be bringing totems back if they think
That
it's.
would be cool.
Yes, it would. I do like the totems. It also helps with Anvil of Apotheosis because some people can be made into totems.
Like, if third edition came out and they were like, armies all have totem bearers you can bring, and if you have a totem, you can pick one of these 6 totems to give it to. Like,
Yeah,
that would be cool.
that'd be amazing. I'd love that. I'm but we'll have to see. I'm more interested in this because of what it might plan for the future rather than if they actually get to use it because it's
Yeah.
so situational. No one's going to take it. Shinians, which is for anyone with a save characteristic better than 5, which is actually pretty solid. That aren't a hero or monster, which is pretty solid against like
Yep.
elite units. It's not going to hurt us much unless you're running Saurus, and but if you're running Saurus, you charged them and killed them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, units with crowds, units with 20 or more models. It kind of makes them a horde breaker, but the above mentioned guys are much better because it's a 50 and 100% increase. No, it's 100 and 200% increase instead of 16%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Wannabes, monsters or war machines. No one's going to take that. Or piggybackers, units that are mounted that aren't a monster. That seems. These are all really specific.
Yeah, that's like cavalry, but not manticores.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's going to hurt my demigrift list.
yep.
Kinda. No, my demigriffs are just going to kill them. I keep coming across this problem where I'm all, oh, cool, that might be interesting if the thing you weren't supposed to be attacking already killed you.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And then it's got the first 2 generics for command abilities. You can have
Monstrosity
40
tough, old and
wounds.
gnarly.
You can reroll save rolls of 1.
I really wish old and gnarly was just +1 to saves, but um, louder than words, +2 to flail attacks at full health. Gatebreaker is now 12 attacks, Ren 3, 3 damage attacks. So definitely, this is better than the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's better. Extremely bitter, you get to pick a second fierce loathing. Ooh, but it only
Yeah, and
applies.
you actually get to pick. You don't have to roll in case you were playing the roll method.
Yeah, but you it only applies to the general. So
Yeah.
eh. Reroll smash down ability. You're gonna roll it anyway, and it's an okay ability in the first place.
I feel like depending on what type of tables you play on, Seas Red is the best choice. While the generals within 9 inches of a terrain feature that have a garrison, you treat them as suffering no damage, regardless of how much damage they've suffered. If you use like the War Scry Citadel and other garrisonable terrain frequently,
Mm.
um, that one, when it's useful, is the most useful.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm going to be honest. I heard this on another podcast, and I'm going to repeat it here because it's funny. This is one of the weirdest abilities in universe ever, where this giant who's on his
Uh-huh.
last legs. He's holding his side because it's gaping over. He's almost dead, but he sees a building that people might be in, and it makes him so angry that he just starts smashing things better. It makes
Yeah.
him better at fighting. This is the weirdest ability ever.
Well, I mean, there's nothing he hates more than a manned building.
It doesn't have to be manned. It can be an empty garrison.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be just, yeah, shoot. There are only two
Well, I
garrisonable
mean,
terrains in the game. It's our temple and that one, like that one decrepit old ruins, and so that he sees that and
yeah.
just
A lot of people that I
no.
know, though, and maybe like I don't know if this is the case, like if playtesters were doing this as well, but frequently if you have terrain that you can't put models in because there's a lot of terrain that people custom build like that for some reason,
Hmm.
um, a lot of people will play those as garrison terrain, where you just like say your unit's in it, and
Oh,
then it's
right.
garrison.
I'm not saying this is a bad ability. I'm saying it's funny
Oh yeah, I agree.
because
I think
in universe
it's
it makes
really
no
play group
sense.
dependent though. Like
Right.
it's not something you just take. But I also don't view this as a tournament army. I view this as a clubhouse army, if that makes sense.
Right. You're not going to see this competitive. If you do see it competitive, it's only at low tables.
Yeah, and they're probably showing up because they want to win like best painted and favorite army and those type of votes, maybe sportsmanship. They're not
Right.
going for best general.
This is a beer and pretzels army, and that's fair.
Exactly.
Everyone who's worried that these guys would be the new knights, they're not.
Yeah, they're really not.
They really, really aren't. But
Their their artifacts are okay though.
6 up feel no pain is
Yeah.
not bad.
When you're at
Unmodified,
like 40 wounds, that's not insignificant.
true. Unmodified hit rolls of 6 with his flail does a mortal wound on and +1 to smash down ability. That's a thing.
Eh.
Reroll of wounds target a hero.
Yeah,
If it was
like
just
I feel like
rerolls,
it's
what?
specifically targeted at your crushing grip. Like, oh
Right.
no, I got a one. Reroll.
Why but crushing grip you have to beat the. Oh yeah. Why is
Yeah,
it
crushing grip's just their like
what?
their ed butt.
Right. Why
It's
isn't
the d6
why
damage.
isn't it just reroll wound rolls of 1? Why is it
I
specifically
know,
against a
across the
hero?
board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, don't they already? No, they already reroll rolls of 1 for.
Yeah. So now you can reroll ones to hit and wound for the crushing grip.
Yeah, the thing it's just such why the limitation that I keep
Yeah.
coming across this.
It feels overly restrictive,
Yeah,
which is why I would be taking the enchanted portcullis.
right. The ability is already not good. Why is it even less good?
You know, sometimes turds need to be polished.
By removing, but this is the opposite. This is a turd that they added more turd to.
Well, I don't know how you polish a turd, but I think we
Polishing
have
the
different methodologies.
right polishing a turd is supposed to make it better, but it doesn't because you can't improve something that's that bad. This is just making a bad thing worse.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they could have just given each Gargant um, pick a unit within 3 inches on a 2+, deal 6 mortal wounds to that unit, and it wouldn't have been overpowered.
Right.
So the fact that you have to go through 3 filters in order to do D6, yeah.
Oh man, these models are gorgeous, and people were really excited about giants. And then GW drops them, and they are unbelievably expensive, both in dollars and points. And the rules are all just nope.
I'm still really excited for them. Like, I'm probably going to sell my Stormcast Eternals to get them because I haven't played my Stormcast Eternals in like a year and a half. So,
That's fair. This is very much a hobby army. For
oh
those
yeah,
of you who like to build and like to paint and like to do crazy things, this army is amazing. But to those who like
yes,
to play the game, you don't have to worry about this army.
yeah,
Play
yeah,
well and you'll have tabled them turn 2 or 3 and won entirely before then.
yeah. There's I think there's basically 3 things Seraphon has to be aware of. If they've got the Siege Breaker, be mindful of your garrison. Um,
Or just don't put it on the table.
yep, you have to be mindful of your skink heroes with their shooting attack. You want to try and be out of range of it.
Yep.
You want to forward pressure them off of objectives instead of giving them open room to stand on objectives.
Right. Play aggressively. They
If you do those three things, it doesn't really matter which type of army you have. You can be Starborn, you can be
Coalesced is
Coalesced,
going
you
to
can be
hurt
Sync,
these
you can be
guys a
Sarb,
lot.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Huh?
Coalesced is going to hurt these guys a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Their damage is already pretty poor, and -1 to all damage rolls is going to be pretty painful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's huge. Um,
Yep.
like, you could even go Coalesced Skinks and be pretty brutal against them. Like,
Hmm.
Coalesced Ripperdactyls, I think, could tear apart Sons of Behemoth.
That's sad. But yeah, and Hyper Anvil Skanks will just the guys will feel useless, which is never
Yeah.
a good thing to feel when playing this game.
Yep.
But they can be taken as mercenaries. We can take Bundo Whalebiter for 500 points.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest this. Our lists are already really tight points wise, and you aren't getting your 500 points worth.
Yeah, because you'd have to give up, like,
You'd
you don't really want to give up your command apparatus. Like, you need the Slan and his support.
Yeah, and without the
And
guys,
outside of that, you're giving up your main army.
right? You're giving up like 40 to 100 guys.
Exactly.
So no, I'd skip him. I do like his name. Bundo is fun. Um, Destruction can take all three.
Yep.
I don't think you'll see a lot of these outside of just for fun lists.
Agreed. I
But
mean, I might take one from my ogres just because why not have more fat boys with my fat boys?
yeah, fair enough.
And I'm already not taking ogres to win, anyways.
Right, ogres already is a for fun army. Why not make it more fun?
Exactly.
But it's a thing to keep in mind. Is there anything else you want to talk about giants?
No, that's pretty much it. I do think this army has potential with some shift in meta to be a lot more viable.
Yeah, but like we said
Like
before, it looks like
if
they're
this
missing.
book had come out even a year ago, it would have been one of the best armies in the game.
Well, a year ago everything was still crap, but things have
Yeah, I
gotten
mean, you had Slanesh when they were like at the top of their game,
right. I
and
think
Skaven, like, oh geez,
I,
Plague Bomb Skaven.
yeah, I think
Uh,
Plague Bong Saven would just completely delete this army in one turn, no matter whether who got hit first.
yeah, if they were able to get their spells off for the double fights.
Yeah,
Um,
he can't stop you. There's no dispelling in this army.
yep.
But
Uh, but yeah, like as it stands, because there's KO and Disciples of Zinch and Seraphon
and
and
cities
Lumineth,
and Lumineth
uh,
and Skaven still can do their job, and
yep,
eels will do pretty well against them. Uh,
yeah, especially the Unrendable Ills, like,
oh yeah, the unrendable eels are taking maybe 12 damage, and
yeah, exactly.
actually a lot less because there's only three of them. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it'd be pretty brutal.
I and I don't think there are many armies that have to worry about them, and the ones that do,
Yeah,
with the exception of Ozzy Bone Reapers, are already just there for fun. So it'll be two people there for fun, and they'll have a blast.
yep.
But I, I, I think that they're missing three war scrolls. I think that this is an incomplete army more than anything.
Yeah, I think they also just needed better saves.
Yes,
Like,
yes. Why are you
Gargant, the
giving
Man
five?
Crushers needed to be a 4 up, the big guys needed to be a 3 up. Or they needed to be -1 to be wounded. Like, if the entire army was -1 to be wounded,
Yeah,
uh,
th-
that would have gone a long ways.
maybe we're just not seeing something, and this army is a forewarning of what's coming in third edition.
Yeah,
Like this is like how old Daughters of Cain were the first second edition army before second edition came out,
yep,
And this looks to be like the last army we're getting before, well, maybe vampires before 3rd edition.
Yeah, I know, right? Vampirates might actually be a thing. All
Right.
those people who doubted me on the new Rumors Lustria
Ha!
forum. Ha!
Yeah, but if this is like this might be forewarning that totems are coming back, it might be forewarning that toughness is coming back,
Uh huh.
or GW is just incompetent.
Honestly, I think they should have just had an allegiance ability that was called toughness, and they were all -1 to be wounded.
That would work too, because there are so few ways to buff wounds in the game. But
Yep.
yeah, it feels incomplete. So, hobby away. This is the best army in the game for hobby. Not a great army for gameplay.
Yeah. I think, like, because they count for so many models, I think against players that aren't very strong, like that are just like your average player, this is going to be a difficult army to beat. But for players who are used to going to tournament, like if you were taking Sons of Behemoth, I think you should be proud if you go 3-2
Yeah,
out of
that's
tournament.
that's gonna be hard. Cause
But I can see them pretty easily going 2-3.
mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to be like a 1-4 or 0-5 army, unless you're bad with them.
Yeah,
Just because you're going to end up playing against the other guys at a tournament who are like there for beer and pretzels and there for the social and uh,
right.
pointing and sportsmanship and all that.
Low tables are a lot of fun at tournaments because everyone's there to just have fun.
Yep.
But and one achievement under Gargant's belt, they make us leave Croak at home.
Oh yeah, yeah. Croak does not have an advantage against them.
Or really useful at all.
I mean, he's just there for your command points at that point.
Mm-hmm. He just
You're like, yep,
3d6
I'm
damages.
Fangs of Zotek, and I eat command points all day long for breakfast, so I'm bringing them anyways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I wish I had better news for everybody out there.
I like them. Like I'm probably going to end up getting some of them,
Yeah?
but it's not like this is the new terror on the block, and you got to have a plan to beat them.
Yeah, you don't need a plan. Just
Yep.
have any damage dealing capabilities at all.
Yeah. Sadly, yeah.
Oh, well. Anything else you think we can cover?
Nah, that's all my thoughts on it.
In that case, the jungle is calling me home. Thank you all for listening to us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out,
No,
everyone.
have a good night. Bye.
Bye.